A lot of people, I think, right now are having a lot of difficulty controlling their mind, running around and stuff. And uh, there's so much going on. And a lot of people say, oh man, my mind won't be quiet. You may have heard before when people say that the voice inside your head is not you. And that's hard to understand if they don't explain more than that. So what I want to talk to you about is a way that you can help calm your mind and also kind of reduce the amount of chatter that's going on. There's two things that will be addressed here. One is that the voice you hear is not you. It is actually, you've got two brains, and they are connected, but not directly. They go through a thing called the corpus callosum. Mm-hmm. And electromagnetically, they're also connected, but they are two separate brains, and they do two different kinds of function. Used to, they say it was like the creative side and the logical side. And it's more like there's the kind of a big picture side, and then there's a detailed task side. And a balance between the two is important. So you can see like a balance out of equal proportions might yield someone to be very obsessive about doing something, or always worried about the big picture. What could go wrong? But unable to actually do the detailed work they need. That's a separate problem, okay? Well, I'm just talking about both of them coming up with stuff because that's your subconscious. Your brains are doing your subconscious. You are your conscious mind, okay? And you are conscious now. You're watching this, thinking this, feeling this, whatever. So at that point, consciousness is you. That's the you. The words inside of your head are actually your subconscious coming up with stuff because your brains keep doing things on their own. They have tons and tons of memories and ideas, paranoias, fears, traumas. So part of what you can do is to basically talk to your brain as the separate entity that it is from your consciousness. That's your subconscious. So I saw a gentleman that talked about saying that he was trying to control his brain in such a way that he wouldn't keep thinking of, if I had only done this, or if I'd only done this, or whatever, about something that terrible had happened in his life. And he realized, first off, that's just reviewing the past, which is unchangeable. So if you waste time contemplating the unchangeable, and you don't actually learn something from it, but instead you just are worried by it, you're stuck doing that. And that's idle hands. Devil's workshop is that, idle hand. But that doesn't mean the devil wants you to do something with him. If you would like to anthropomorphize this whole thing, it simply means that so-called devil would rather you be idle, doing nothing. If you're not doing anything, you're not doing good. So the more people that get stuck in cycles in the past, it's a problem. Kierkegaard said that life is lived forward and understood backwards. So yeah, that's true. We can look back and we can learn from our past and learn what we're going to do next time, think about other contingencies and so forth. So yeah, we can do that. But he also said something like, the past is with us only if we keep bringing it. So in those two together, it's saying understood backwards, which means you get a lesson from it and then don't bring it with you all the time. Go forward. Same thing happens with the brain. The brain coming up with these things in the background, fears, and you get wandered off somewhere. It's so-called ADHD or spectrum, and all of these things are actually brains working in different ways. Not necessarily in a bad way. It may be just a different function. So it's not really a learning disability. It's more like different learning modalities, as Scott Simon talks about. Instead, what I'm pointing out to you is that if you say, okay, I'm me, and that voice inside my head is not really me, so what is it? That's my two brains who are subconscious put it on the back burner. Coming up with stuff and communicating that to the basal ganglia. And that is the verbal center, and it produces words, which is the voice inside your head. So what you're listening to are kind of like the ramblings of your brains on a subconscious level, finding things, you're making associations from what you're talking about, this and that. Oh my God, that there might be nails in that box of nails. And oh, but what if it's not? I mean, you could go in all kinds of directions, and you could get a very paranoid thing. Nobody says, I really would like to be paranoid. I just want to do that. Now, being in a state of disillusionment's not bad, because it means you realize, God, I was wrong. So if I could be in a constant state of, oh, I get it, and also disillusionment at the same time, I would be always finding out, oh, I was wrong. This is what's right. That one doesn't work quite that way, but to dream. So if you address your two brains as its own entity, this is what the gentleman suggested. If you say, hey, let's give it a name. I suggest whatever you want. Since you're the captain of the ship, maybe you address it as number one. Number one, what do you think? Make it so. I'm sorry, Patrick. Here's the thing is, you just want to give it a name so that you can address it. So you'd say, hey, you talk out loud when you do this. You talk to yourself. Yeah, well, get away from somebody if you don't want to be doing it in front of somebody else. Or just go ahead and do it anyway, and they'll think that, well, you are special. But you are special. So that, and it's not true, Orwellian style, that some people are created more special than others. Sorry. Are functionally different. Different qualities, gifts, and so forth. Different burdens. So if you address your brain and say, all right, number one, or number one and two, or whatever you want to do it, but address them as a single and say, look, I appreciate how much that you can remember and come up with and connect and so forth, and all these associations, like strengthening bonds or weakening bonds between pieces of information, just like AI does. If you remember that it's doing that and say, oh, that's great that you do that, but I really don't want you to keep chattering all the time. What I ask you to do is to bring me solutions. Help me find a solution. And also occasionally bring up beautiful memories. Now, if you're doing the Kierkegaard thing, where you're making sure you're learning from the past and you're not bringing it with you, but you're bringing the lessons forward, then you're not encumbered by the past. You're not attached to those things. They just make you suffer. So say, oh, I just want good solutions, and I want beautiful memories that I have already there, please. That's what I need from you. Tell it out loud. Tell your brain, hey brain, I don't want you to do this. I need this to happen. I want you to just give me great solutions and beautiful memories. But I need the solutions fast, and I don't need all the chattering, please. And if you find that the brain starts, tell it again. Now, some people find that very difficult to do, because they're very embarrassed to do this kind of thing. But the truth is, we hear what we say. We vibrate air out, and we hear it. That's a feedback loop. That's a learning loop. If you try to go over things in your mind only, then it becomes difficult, because you have to have a very disciplined mind and executive center to keep that focus internally. You can do it. Some people are better than others. But everyone's pretty good at saying things out loud. Like, I'm a damned idiot. I'm a fracking... Don't you think you're hearing what you say? So this is part of having to love yourself and say, I got that done. You finish a task, I got that done. You don't say, what is the next fracking thing I have to do now? So you're hearing yourself. You are setting yourself up for that. And this is what I'm trying to do, is to help you find a way out of that for whatever is really maligning your mental consciousness these days. So in that aspect of you addressing your brain and saying, look, this is what I need from you, you are giving yourself a feedback loop of learning. And we learn what we do over and over. We get good at what we do over and over. So you'd make this part of your practice. And the mind, subconscious, won't bother you as much. Now, some people have a problem with things that they've done and they just can't get them out of their mind. And I'm going to tell you something right now about that. It's been said that every decision is wrong. I'm not sure that's really true, but it's pretty damn close. At some point or another, we can look back, learn from it, and say, I could have done better. But you know what? It's not could have done, it's that I will possibly do better. You can't say I should have or could have or would have or if I had only. Those are all illegal. You can't change the past. So instead say, I am able to do better. I'm going to learn from this. So to do that, though, you have to accept that what happened was actually the best you could do at that moment. You may know better. You may look backwards on it and say, well, I could have done it. But that's not the point. The point is that you accept it as, that was the best I could do. And it might be terrible. So it could be the best you could do and a mistake at the same time. Every decision is a mistake, and that's the best you can do. But I say every decision could be a mistake. And no matter what that was, that's the best you could do. Even if it's embarrassing and terrible. Let's say it's great. Well, it's easy to accept yourself for that and say, I did that, I achieved that. But if it's something that's not so good, you're not so proud of, that doesn't mean that you're flawed. That means that your decision at that particular time was the best you could do. And if you can feel that in your heart and say, I know that was the best I could do, then you can forgive yourself. I see people seeking forgiveness from others for stuff that has happened, but they haven't forgiven themselves for it yet. Because they think, I need to be asking forgiveness because then that'll make me feel better. But in the meantime, they're saying, I'm flawed. That's why I do those things. And they're just going to do it again. You have to forgive yourself and love yourself. That makes it easier for you to tell your brain what to do. It's kind of like downhill. Say, wow, this is great. We got this, and it's all downhill from here. In the same word, it says like, oh, she turned the corner, and it's all downhill from here. Downhill both ways. Like the idea of, hey, it was uphill to school both ways. These dichotomies, these, what do they call them, a paradox, are two things that are true, even though they seem to compete with each other. But you see, this is just a point of truth. And here's 2 points of truth. And if they are in opposition, but they yet are both true, that defines a bigger space. So it takes a better mind, a stronger you to hold that in your mind and say, this is paradoxical. It's the worst thing that could have happened. It was a mistake, and that was the best I could do at the same time. And they cancel out. So have a heart and forgive yourself. Talk to your brain. Tell it to shut her down. Tell it, I need solutions and I need beautiful memories. Find some peace. It's in here. You're the only person that can be you. You're the only person that can be you. So no one else is going to make you be that. No one else is going to fix you except you. Be you here now.